Nothing Personal starts in 30 seconds. It's just business. This is Nothing Personal.
Here you go.
Announcement. That's the Nothing Personal word of the day. It is Thursday, May 29th, 2025. And what we've been teasing now for about 6 months, we are pleased to announce that starting Monday, June 2nd, only a couple days from now, you asked for it, you got it. We're going to 2 hours. That's right. We have a new deal with Meadowlark and Dan Le Batard. We have a new deal with DraftKings. And every day, live at 7 a.m., we will be coming to you for 2 shows, not one, 5 days a week. Then you can catch us on the DraftKings network at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. You think we don't have more to say? We leave half the show on the cutting room table. Although we don't cut, we don't edit. You know what we do because you've been with us for 1,286 episodes of this format. We've had some sit-downs. We've had some mailbag episodes, some emergency pods. But this concept with words of the day and movie reviews, we'll talk culture, sports, politics. We'll bring you inside the room where it happens. And instead of 50 minutes, because it was nice to do it once, we're going to do it twice. But there's a couple special things about this announcement. And without this, I wouldn't have agreed to do it. Number one, every Friday, that's right, every Friday, you wanted more Coca, you've got Coca. The second hour on Friday is going to have Coca with me, co-hosting, telling you everything that pisses him off, telling me everything I did wrong, got wrong, could get wrong during the course of a week, giving you his opinions on the stories that we care about and cover. You don't have to wait for episode 500, 1,000, or now 1,500. You'll get them every Friday. How about every Wednesday? Every Wednesday is going to be So You Want to Talk to Samson Wednesday. The second hour of Wednesday's show, we have a phone number for you. Forget reading your question. I got a better one for you. I want to hear your question. And we have a phone number that is open and live right now. You could hit pause on this show and dial 631 DPS 4869. You bet your sweet bippy we got that phone number. 631-377-4869. Leave a message. You may make the show on Wednesdays, but ask me something good and don't forget to say hello. And then 2 other days a week, every Tuesday and Thursday, we're going to have a guest on in the second hour. Stay tuned for our first guest. It'll be on Tuesday, June 3rd, but every Tuesday, Thursday is a guest. Every Wednesday, call that number, get on the show. Every Friday, Matthew Coca. That leaves Monday. Mondays have been bothering me for a long time because there's so many things that happen during the course of the weekend that we don't get to cover. Now we'll get to. It's me. It's you. 2 50-minute episodes in a row every Monday to catch you up on what happened since Friday. So what we've asked for is simply to give the people what they want. And DraftKings and Meadowlark both agreed. And Coke and I said, let us keep doing what we do, and we'll keep doing it until the end of 2027. That's right. We have signed a long-term deal to bring you Nothing Personal. There may be some new parts to the show. There may be a new logo, new graphics, new intro. You may see all of it Monday, June 2nd at 7 a.m. live. You may want to go on davidsamsonpodcast.com because you may get an opportunity to replace your old merch. I mean, why wouldn't we try to get you to buy more merch as we're heading into the Christmas season in 6 months? DavidSamsonPodcast.com. We are honored before we start today's show. We would not have had the opportunity. DraftKings wouldn't have wanted us. Metalark wouldn't have wanted us. We wouldn't have been a critical part of Metalark's deal with DraftKings, giving you the extra hour every day, if not for all the people who subscribe on YouTube, the people who are listening to this right now, the people who have told your friends and family about our show, been with us, whether it's from day one or day yesterday. You made your voices heard, and you know what they say. When the audience speaks, the sponsors listen. I am proud of what Coke and I have built. I am proud that we're going to have with us Jack Lerner, who is going to be helping with all sorts of things that you see on YouTube, shorts, social media clips. We've got at David P. Samson on Twitter, on Instagram. We have the Nothing Personal TikTok channel. All the things that I didn't dream as a 57-year-old I'd be focused on, and now I can't live without. It puts the A in addiction. We got to start the show, Coco. We have so much to cover. What's the takeaway before we move on of this announcement? That I love you. I'm appreciative of what you have provided for me, for Coca, for Lebitard, for DraftKings. Nothing happens without the audience and your passion, your care. I want to hear it in your voice. 631 DPS 4869. Today's episode is brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Last night, Coco, was one of those nights. It's a 2-screen night. I've gotten used to it. Don't have to do it much longer. The 2-screen night is when you have the TV on, you've got the iPad in front of you, you're choosing where to get the sound from. When there's stuff going on in the basketball game or the hockey game, I want to hear what's going on. When I'm watching both, I'm going back and forth. I'm trying to put the iPad far enough away so I don't need the reading glasses, but then I need an arm extender to get to the volume button. You have no idea the issues I have doing the 2-screen situation. I'm watching the Florida Panthers try to get to the Stanley Cup for a 3rd consecutive season. I'm thinking about South Florida, my home from 2002 to 2020. I'm thinking about Vinny Viola, the owner of the Panthers, Matt Caldwell, the president of the Panthers. I'm thinking about Mickey Arison, the owner of the Heat, and I'm thinking about Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins. And I'm also thinking about me. I'm thinking about what it is to build a dynasty. I never could do it. I'm thinking about how rare it is to build a dynasty, to really get everything right. Free agents, trades, the draft. Don't forget where the Florida Panthers came from. This is a franchise that was very nicely and without any agenda referred to by the other teams in the market as the hash mark team. No one was watching, no one was going. Previous administrations, forget making up attendance like I did. They were giving away tickets like it was hotcakes, giving away sponsorship deals like it didn't matter, lowering and devaluing the product because they couldn't win after John Van Beesbrook and the 96 rat situation. Vinny Viola and Matt Caldwell come in and bring an armed forces-like discipline into the organization. Hire the right people. Let those people do their job. And now what? A 3rd straight Stanley Cup appearance. In the last 45 years, there's only 4 teams to ever do it. Ever. The Islanders in the 80s, the Oilers with Wayne, the great one, the Tampa Bay Lightning only 3 years ago, and now the Florida Panthers. That's it. That's the level of greatness. If the Panthers can beat the Oilers for a 2nd year in a row, or somehow beat the Stars if they can come back from a 3-1 deficit and win their 2nd Stanley Cup in a row, they're the dynasty. They're the Heat dynasty with LeBron. They're better than the Marlins winning 2 world championships in 6 seasons. They're better than the Heat's undefeated season. The Florida Panthers have built a business in Sunrise, Florida. They've increased the value of their team. They've increased the value of their ticket. They've increased the value of their sponsorship. They have done everything right. The irony of Florida becoming the hotbed of hockey is not lost on me. 6 straight years, the Eastern Conference has sent a Florida team to the Stanley Cup. 3 in a row for the Lightning, now 3 in a row for the Panthers. 6 in a row from a place where everyone thought, hockey? Florida? It goes to show you that it's not about the size of the market. It's not about the weather outside the arena. It's about the quality of people in the front office and the quality of the players on the court or on the ice. That's how you build championships. That's how you sustain greatness. The reason that I am so happy for the Panthers is that no longer being the president of the Marlins, I get to release the jealousy and the anger and the vitriol that I felt toward any other successful team in our marketplace while publicly having to tell you, oh my God, of course I'm rooting for the Heat with LeBron. Not a chance. No chance, toilet pants, did I want the Heat to go to the finals 4 straight years and interrupt our season. No. Happy that the Dolphins couldn't win a playoff game in the life of my son who's now graduated college. Not one playoff game. Schadenfreude was the word of the day for me every day running a professional sports team in a city with multiple teams. But now that I'm with you every day, I love rooting for the Panthers. I love thinking about what they're doing in that market and how they continue to be the organization that everybody now strives to be. When you go to an owner's meeting, there is so much ego and so much jealousy and so much copycatting because everyone wants to be the cool team. Everyone wants to have the winning team. Everyone wants to be the person who is looked at and up to by the other owners and other front offices. You get your moment when you win a World Series, but it's fake. The applause you get, fake. The gratitude from the league, fake. The accolades from other teams, fake. But when you're out of it and you're looking back and then you're looking at what is now, you have a greater perspective. Much like anything in life, it's very hard to have perspective when you're in the middle of it, but give yourself some distance. That's the whole point of perspective. We talked about it earlier this week. We talked about pointillism and how to get perspective. You have to step back. It's the same thing when you're looking at sports teams, both in your market and out. When you're trying to evaluate greatness or evaluate GOATs or do the debate that everybody does on social media and on the studio media shows. Well, I've got that perspective right now. And the greatness that I see with the Panthers, it's clear. Like 2010, Wade Boggs' vision clear. Congratulations to the Panthers. You're back, baby. To back. To back? There is nothing worse than having an asset that becomes a liability. That is not just about sports. That's life, baby. When you think that you've got something valuable and then all of a sudden you realize it's cubic zirconium. Dang it. Do you know what it is to have a player going into a season where you dream you're going to be good, but you know you're not going to be good, but you have a player who you know you're going to trade and you're going to get a boatload full of prospects that's going to set your team up, and you have all these trades going on, you're ready to roll, then the season starts, and then that player gets hurt, or worse, that player stinks. It is, I don't want to be full of hyperbole here this morning because I feel like I have been a little bit because of my gratitude and butterflies in my stomach. Although that could be last night's meal. Do you know what it is to have what you think is a plan and then have that plan get completely destroyed? Sandy Alcantara, an ace, a true ace for the Marlins. A great trade that the Marlins did after I left. Can't take credit for that one, just like I can't take blame for the bad ones. Didn't do the Yelich or Stanton trade. Didn't do the Ozuna trade. All of that said, Sandy Alcantara was the number one starter, and then he was an ace, and then he got hurt. He's back this year, and he's making $17 million in what is a very, very friendly deal for a pitcher of that quality. When you mark your players to market and you calculate what Sandy should be getting paid, and you look around at some of the Drek getting paid 17, you look at yourself and say, wow, that's a $30 million starter, and then you get to capture that incremental $13 million in the form of players. You get to go to organizations and you get to cherry pick and you get to do a Nationals Juan Soto deal with the Padres. And then the games start. And then Sandy can't get anyone out. He has an 8.47 earned run average this year after his start yesterday against the San Diego Padres. He's allowed at least 2 earned runs every start. But the problem is, in 8 of his 11 starts and 6 in a row, he's allowed 4 or more runs. He's throwing his curveball way too much. He's throwing his slider way too little. He's getting no swings and misses. None. Nobody's chasing. Nobody's hitting the ball softly. He is pitching like the worst pitcher in Major League Baseball. I want you to just understand the dichotomy between what was supposed to be and what is for the Miami Marlins. What was supposed to be is the Panthers weren't going to be in the Stanley Cup. The Dolphins were going to keep stinking, and the Heat were going to be finished after trading Jimmy, if not before, and this was their moment. Instead, they've got an asset that has declined to the point that if he qualified as a starting pitcher, he'd have the worst earned run average by 3 runs over the second worst pitcher in all of baseball. And you're saying, well, David, that means that he hasn't pitched enough, because you know from learning on Nothing Personal, to qualify to win the earned run title or to just be on the board, either good or bad, you have to have pitched 1 inning per game that your team has played. The Marlins have played 54 games, and he's pitched 50 innings. If he had pitched 54 innings, he'd be on the board, and he'd be last on the board. Just think about this when I name the pitcher right now. Trevor Williams is the worst qualified starting pitcher. Nothing Personal fans, you may remember Trevor Williams traded him for Jim Benedict, the coach. Oy vey. 4869. You remember Trevor Williams traded him for Jim Benedict, the front office executive. Oy, God, I can't even imagine that that's what we did. We had to pretend we didn't, but we did. So Trevor Williams is last, but once Sandy pitches another couple innings, he'll qualify. And then what happens? What do? Do you keep starting him? Do you shut him down? Put him back on the injured list when this is the time that you were starting to take trade offers for him? The Marlins now have 2 choices. 1, you keep him for the rest of the year, and he becomes less valuable during the offseason because he's had such a crappy season, but you can hope that he improves. But if he doesn't improve by July 31st, then you're stuck paying him for a team that's going nowhere. Total waste of money. You haven't gotten a huge number of prospects to try to become Baltimore before this season. Or do you trade him for less? Shed the money. Cut your losses. Do you want to know the quickest way to get poor? Quickest way. It's easy. Sell low and buy high. It's brilliant. What could go wrong? Sandy Alcantara, is he done? Is he permanently done? Is he one of those guys who can never recover from TJ? Or is it just taking him a minute, which we know it can happen with pitchers, where they can have an entire season back where they're not themselves, and then they come back next spring and they're good. So the Marlins can say, you better trade me that full set of prospects because he's going to be the Sandy of old. And the 29 other teams say, nope, you're going to have to prove it. He's going to have to not just show health, he's going to have to show quality and consistency. There's going to be a stalemate between what the Marlins want for Sandy and what the market's willing to give, which will lead to no trade because no trade is better than a bad trade. Here's the other way to look at it. All of the trades that happen when you get prospects, you can get Andrew Miller and Cameron Maybin and think you've done a great job by trading a Hall of Famer, and then you realize that you absolutely only got Burke Badenhop. You can make a trade where you get a throw-in, and the throw-in's name is Dontrell Willis. We don't really know everything as baseball executives. We pretend we do because we're in front of cameras, and we want you to think that you can't do what we do because we're specially trained. We're especially smart, Ivy League smart. Nah, we're just like you. We're just trying to guess right most of the time. We're trying to figure out if the computers are telling us the right thing or what our eyes see, or are we relying on the right player personnel people and the right scouts and the right development people? Did we choose our manager right? Did we choose our head of sales right? What have we done right versus what have we done wrong? And frankly, we need distance from it before we really know. Because when you're in it, you're in it. You're up close to it. The Marlins have to decide, do they take a trade where the prospects aren't as sexy, not as high on the list that's done by other people, not by anyone inside baseball, and hope that one of those prospects hits, which then makes it a successful trade? Or do you wait and pay him when your team is losing money? Your owners and limited partners are absolutely crushing you because you're writing checks that you don't want to write. Here's what's going to happen, Coca. I'm going to give you a wait to see. Wait to see is when we tell you something's going to happen. If it does, great. If it doesn't, fine. The Miami Marlins will not trade Sandy Alcantara during this season. He has made it so, and the Marlins will not take the chance by getting a lesser package than what they expected. A simple wait to see. Sandy is staying put, he and his 8.47 ERA. Coca, how am I doing with my Red Sox pick? I feel good. I feel good. I gotta love it. The Red Sox are winning the pennant. The Yankees aren't going to make the playoffs. Here we are on May 29th, and I am wrong so far. The Yankees have had a great season without pitching as I would have thought it would exist. Didn't realize Max Fried would be a Cy Young favorite next to Skubal. Didn't realize that Rodon would be able to show some more consistency. Didn't realize they'd be able to replace Clay Holmes like it was nothing, honey. I really thought the Red Sox would do it with Alex Bregman. I thought that the combination of Devers, Bregman, they were going to get along great. One guy playing third, one guy DHing, a great sprinkling of rookies, a great desire to not finish in last anymore. Meanwhile, the Red Sox have some Surus. They've got extra Surus. You want some of it? Up there in England? In Boston, they're 10-16 in May. They're 4 games under. They've lost 5 in a row. My main man, Yelich, I would have lost this bet, Coca. Christian Yelich of the Brewers hit a walk-off grand slam 2 days ago. And I read and saw and heard that it was Yelich's first career walk-off home run. I wouldn't have bet my house, but I would have bet yours that that wasn't true. But it just goes to show you. And then the Brewers followed it up by walking him off again the next day, yesterday. And that's not even the worst of what's going on in Boston. Alex Cora, their manager, who was just signed to an extension, people are already calling for his firing, trying to figure out what the Red Sox should be doing because they've been a mess this whole season, and Devers has been like the sun, S-U-N, of that mess. I won't leave third base. All right, fine, I'll DH. I won't play first base. I'll only DH. Craig Breslow has broken his word to me. Meanwhile, the Red Sox now have a problem at first base. They have a problem at third base because Alex Bregman hurt. So you'd think that there would be a solution, and a pretty easy solution, by getting Devers to put a glove back on. Instead, listen to what Alex Cora said yesterday to the media.
Not at third base, no. And we keep talking about the other position, but as of now, it's not happening.
Ongoing conversations?
We always have conversations, yeah.
So there's more conversations about him possibly
Not
first
more.
and third?
Not more. No. Third base, he's not going to play third base.
But I'm sorry, I just want to make sure that I'm not misunderstanding. Like, so there have been conversations about first base with him?
We're still talking about the situation, man. Like, this is where we at. There's a chance Christian's going to play first base this weekend in Atlanta. Yeah. There's conversations. I don't have to go specifics, but the third base part of it is a no.
You had said about a week ago that Christian was a 2.5 or 3 on the scale of 10. Has he ramped that up, and where is?
He did. He feels we talked a few days ago, and he's like, I feel confident. So there's a chance he'll play one in Atlanta.
Cora doesn't look so good there, does he? For those of you not watching on Nothing Personal with David Samson YouTube channel or the DraftKings Network, he was in the dugout giving an interview, which is what managers have to do. And he was asked a pretty simple question about what the story was going to be with Devers. And he made it clear Devers won't play third. And he said there's ongoing conversations. I want to explain what those conversations are like, because it's a little misleading when we would say that to the media or the fans. We don't really have those type of conversations. We go in and talk to the manager, and we say that we're going to be playing Devers at first base, so put him in the lineup at first base. And then the manager would say, are you sure? Let's talk to the player. And we'd say, we're happy to tell the player we're not going to talk to the player. So we bring the player in and say, hey, Mr. Devers, you're in the lineup, and get a glove. You're playing first base. You may be saying, David, that's too harsh. That's why you never won. Well, we did win. You may be saying, David, that's too harsh. What if a player just doesn't feel good about it? You may say to yourself, what happens when a player begs and pleads, I can't play that position? That's a player you don't want on your team. And for Alex Cora to basically tell you on camera or in your ear while you're working right now that, yes, we've had plenty of ongoing conversations. We're always having conversations. That's true. They're happening in the suite during the game. They're happening with the manager before the game and after the game. But decisions are made every single day. Here's what we don't do. Hey, we got a problem. We got Bregman on the DL. We're having a problem at first base. Hey, let's table that. We'll pick it up tomorrow. Let's see what happens in tomorrow's game. That would put the eye in incompetence. You make decisions. You make decisions based on information, based on what you think is right for your team. Then you execute those decisions. If you've got a player who is not cooperating with those decisions, you've got another decision to make. Devers does not have a choice here. This is not about me being owner v player, president v player, or me trying to tell you that I'm not in favor of player empowerment or I despise it. This is me talking to you about how it works with employers and employees. This is me explaining to you. Now, there is a big difference here. The chief of surgery in your local hospital does not go to your orthopedic surgeon and say, excuse me, you've got brain surgery in ER2 in an hour. Nope. It is true that the head of Delta does not go to the flight attendant and say, hi, you'll be the captain today. Get me to Oklahoma City. But when it comes to baseball, there are two lines that we don't cross. We don't have a position player pitch who does not agree to do so. We do not have a pitcher pinch run or pinch hit without knowing well in advance that he will be doing so. But we do position changes every Donnerstick. Every Monday, Thursday, you're looking at whatever we want to do because we put players in the position we think will make them succeed. And instead, what the Red Sox are staring at straight in the face are a bunch of players. Their OPS stinks. As a team, as individual players, they've got a pitcher, basically Garrett Crochet, and then 4 rain delays is what they're hoping for. Crochet has a 2.04 ERA. He's had a great season, a great extension that was done. But he's thrown 32 innings more than any other pitcher for the Red Sox. And you wonder why they're 4 games under? When you look at their position players and say, my God, Trevor Story can't even get a 600 OPS for his $25 million. Side note, Coco, before we go to break, I'm going to keep doing this for 2 years and 7 more months at least. And I'm going to keep asking the question. When your favorite team signs a free agent and you are in heaven, you are jumping for joy, you are complimenting your owner, you're so proud and happy, you feel so good to wear your team jersey. And then when that player ends up being a dud, where are you? Are you booing Trevor Story? Are you forgetting what it felt like when you signed Trevor Story? It's like the Rockies with Chris Bryant. It's like the Nationals with Patrick Corbin. It's like anybody with any pitcher long-term or anybody with position players that keep getting all this money. Are you upset about Rafaela? You gave him $50 million bucks, and now he's got 3 homers and 20 ribbies with an OPS of 639. Yet you want, hey, sign the young guys. Don't be cheap. Get yourself back from Liverpool. Focus on the team. I don't get it. Do you want players who are good on teams that are good, or do you just want the owner spending money like a drunken sailor and stupidly? I guess one of them feels really good for a short period of time and then feels badly for a long period of time. God, that sounds like something else I know. Before we go to break here, one last thing. These young contracts for players who have 0 years of service or 1 year of service, that everybody in the media says, oh, look, now this is a team committed to winning. This is a team spending money. It's not true. Rafaela was already signed to a 6-year deal. You didn't need to extend him and give him $50 million guaranteed, because here's the reality. The reality is that that player is going to get $3.75 million as a first-year arbitration player, because it's not the arbitrators who give it to him. It's not his year that gives it to him or his performance. It's that contract. That contract signed as though he was going to be good, and he's not. For him to get to a $3.75 million first-year ARB number, he better get better, and I mean quickly, and I mean sustain it. Because right now, that Rafaela contract is another one that looks bad. To add to the Trevor Story, to add to the Devers. Red Sox are in trouble, Coca. All right, one of the things we're going to do on Thursdays, every Thursday, we promise you, we're still going to review a movie every day. Even with 2 hours of show, I'm going to watch a movie every day. Guaranteed. You can book it. Every Thursday, we're going to review a movie from my top 100 list. For all of the new listeners out there in the month of May, and we have the numbers, thank you. Don't forget to go to davidsamsonpodcast.com, and there's a document that tracks every wait to see, every word of the day, every pick of the day. It has every movie we've ever reviewed. It's all there in the tabs. You get unique insight in truth. Can't run from my past. Well, on Thursdays, we're going to review a movie from the top 100. This week, we're reviewing Bugsy. Bugsy with Warren Beatty and Annette Bening, Harvey Keitel, Ben Kingsley. Bugsy about Bugsy Siegel. Bugsy Siegel, who had a vision about Las Vegas, built a casino called the Flamingo. When I turned 21, family tradition, Vegas trip, stayed in the Flamingo. To have vision about something, to zag when everybody's zigging, to get the feeling that you have a vision that you want to see through, overruns be damned. Think about for a minute what Vegas looks like today. Bugsy Siegel was one of the first people to have that vision, and this movie talks about what it is to have a vision in a world where mob killings and mob involvement is the rule of the day. Bugsy Siegel never got to live, spoiler alert, to see Vegas as it is today. Bugsy Siegel did get an opportunity to do something great, to have a legacy, and I am not in any way condoning the behavior, because there's ways to build a casino without murdering people. Although, to this day, we are still building stadiums over in Saudi Arabia and Qatar by having people killed and having them die. So it happens. when you're that type of person. But the credit that I give him for Vegas, I hate to thank him, but I am. He also got to meet his future wife. Warren Beatty used to be a Lothario. He was like the guy. And then he met Annette Bening on this movie set, and they're married to this day. It's not exactly a Belichick-Jordan Hudson situation because they've been married for a long time happily. There is an age difference, and Annette Bening is now responsible for having corralled Warren Beatty along with Father Time. Go check out Bugsy. So worth your time. It'll be in everybody's top 100. All right, one of the audience members did a random number generator, so we keep track of what we've reviewed in the top 100. We press a button, and then that gives us the next movie we're going to watch for next Thursday. Hit it, Coca. Yes. I love this movie. 500 Days of Summer. That's my number 57 ranked movie. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Zoe Deschanel. I'm excited to watch that. Have we taken a break yet, Coca? I cannot remember. I think we have to take a break. Did we already take a break? I skipped it. Dang it. Then let's go to break now. All right, we're skipping it. Is that the first time in 1,286 episodes that I totally just skipped a break? Is that because of the excitement of announcing that we're going to 2 hours and doing this in a different way so that I'm actually seeing my face while I'm talking and I'm looking out at this huge studio audience? Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. Yes, you can get tickets online. The second game I watched last night was the Thunder and the T-Wolves. I have to confess something that I haven't mentioned during the course of this playoff run by the T-Wolves. I've been in pretty constant touch. Look at me, David, wearing the bar mitzvah jacket from 10 years ago. Pay attention to the jacket you're seeing on the Nothing Personal with David Samson YouTube channel. You may see it again. I must confess that I've been in touch with Alex Rodriguez, the soon-to-be owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves. He and I have known each other for a very, very long time. He's about to get ownership of the Timberwolves. There was a lot of worry within the National Basketball Commissioner's office and their lawyers, I assume, because the deal to buy the team from Glenn Taylor is done, but it has not yet been approved. The minute the deal would be approved, Glenn Taylor would be gone, even though he sits courtside right next to Chris Finch and the players, and A-Rod and Laurie would be the owners. Can you imagine if the Timberwolves had won the NBA championship or if they had won the conference championship? The level of awkwardness. Does A-Rod get to go on stage? Does he not? Does he get handed the trophy? Does he not? Does he get to touch the trophy? Or does he go full Panthers when it comes to the Prince of Wales trophy? Dude, not touching it. Well, that all got avoided yesterday when the Thunder crushed the Timberwolves. This was not a competitive series the way we expected it to be. The Thunder won their fourth game this postseason by more than 30 points. That's a record, folks. That level of blowout, consistent blowout, you just don't see it unless you watch the Thunder all year long. The Oklahoma City Thunder have not just been winning games. They have been crushing opponents, and it's not stopping. SGA, the MVP of the league, basically book him for 30-plus points. 11 of 16 postseason games, 30-plus points. The depth of the Thunder, more than any other team around, including Indiana. The defense of the Thunder, better than any team left, including Indiana. The variety of quality, better than any other team out there, including Indiana. The thing is, when you know that you've built a team, and think about this stat, which is just enough to make everybody jealous to the point of night sweats. The Thunder are young. Their average age is only 24.8 years old. They're babies. Do you want to know how old the Auburn Tigers were? This is a stat of the day. Stat of the day. How's this for integration? Stat of the day. Stat of the day. Do you have a button you can press that does the button of the other show? That would be amazing. Dan would love that. The Auburn Tigers lost in the national championship game. They were 23.2 years old. I don't know how that happened, but they were 23.2 years old was their average age. The Oklahoma City Thunder are only 24.8. That's a year and a half older, and they're going to win the NBA championship. The Timberwolves end up losing in the conference finals for a second year in a row, last year to Dallas, this year to Oklahoma City. The frustration is hard to comprehend. It would be like the Indiana Pacers losing to the Celtics last year and then to the Knicks this year. It brings you to a level of despondency. I don't think it's going to happen. The Thunder are in the NBA finals now. They have 8 days off. The NBA does this where they schedule the finals start June 5th no matter what happens. If the Pacers win tonight, no problem. There's no basketball until June 5th. It's sort of like the Super Bowl where you take 2 weeks and you build up the anticipation, the unbelievable anticipation of Oklahoma City and Indianapolis. I'm not going to be the one who says, ugh. I'm going to tell you right now that a finals between OKC and Indiana will be one of the best finals matchups you'll see. Congratulations, OKC. I love Oklahoma City. Absolutely love it. Nothing personal pick of the day. Presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Tonight, the Knicks are playing the Pacers in Game 5 at the Garden. I don't think Pat McAfee will be there, but he may. I do assume Chalamet will be there along with Ben Stiller, Spike Lee, and many of the other celebrities. Except none of that matters. What matters is that Halliburton's going to be there. Neesmith's going to be there. Turner's going to be there. McDonald's going to be there. The entire Pacers team that just plays better than the Knicks. Better defense, better offense. The Knicks who have not played well at home. The Pacers who have played fantastically on the road. Here's the difference in tonight's game. The NBA cannot have 2 conference finals end in 5 games. No way. They know that Indiana is likely to win this series, but you got to get this back to a Game 6 in Indiana. You got to have a game on Saturday night because it's all right for fighting. The Knicks are giving 4 points, and you think it's a sucker bet because I've been so successful with the reverse Mushel. But nope. We're taking the Knicks -4 over the Pacers. They are going back to Indiana for Game 6. It will be a 2-screen situation because we're going to watch Connor McDavid and the Oilers clinch in a victory over the Dallas Stars. Now, the Edmonton Oilers are up 3-1, Coca, and the Edmonton Oilers are plus 114, odds subject to change. The Edmonton Oilers know that the Panthers are resting. They know they lost to the Panthers last year. They don't want to lose again. Connor McDavid needs to touch the cup. You need rest this time of year. The Edmonton Oilers are not going to screw around. Look for them to beat the Stars. So, nothing personal pick of the day presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. 2 picks. Oilers plus 114 over the Stars. Knicks -4 over the Pacers. Those are your NPPODs. Last night, we had a problem, Coca. We certainly did. I expected the Hurricanes to extend the series over the Panthers. When the Hurricanes took a 2-0 lead over the Panthers, I was celebrating because the Hurricanes were 32-0 with a 2-goal lead this season. That's it. We're going for a Game 6. We're heading back to Sunrise. But then the Panthers scored 3 goals before I could go to the bathroom. And they went on to win the game. That's a tough one. We lost that. I can't believe how good Paul Skeens is. I can't believe that I thought Zach Gallen would beat Paul Skeens. I really can't. Although the Pirates never win. Even with Skeens, they don't win. And the Diamondbacks have been playing so poorly. Gallen has not been pitching well. I thought that he would rise to the occasion. But no, the Diamondbacks lost to the Pirates. So we went 0-2. We're down to 66 and 70, but I like my picks tonight. We're going to keep going. All right, everybody. Bring out the toothpicks. Bring it out. I'm going to bring out my chapstick because I'm going to need to moisten my lips for this topic. It's a juicy one. What is more boring to you than tax law? When I say depreciation, amortization, do your eyes glaze? When I say tax benefits and write-offs, do you say, that's not me? Something's going on with owners right now in sports that I need to bring to your attention. And it's part of that big, beautiful bill that we've discussed on Nothing Personal that was narrowly passed by the House and is now in front of the Senate. Do you remember when I talked to you about all the lobbyists that leagues pay to lobby people in the legislature? I've told you about commissioners who go visit the president, commissioners who go visit their legislators. I talked to you about being on the committee where we'd go to dinners in D.C. with people in the Senate and in the House to let them talk baseball. Because when it comes time to certain bits of legislation, we needed to have the power to have some sort of line vetoes. Now, you may say that's not fair, having money and power and getting what you want in Washington. And I would say, welcome to the 1700s, dude. This has been going on longer than wooden teeth were a thing. Tucked deep inside that little big and beautiful bill was a little thing that really would screw owners of sports teams. I've spoken to you about the great tax benefits that owners receive when they buy a team where you can depreciate your intangible assets. What does that mean? I can buy a team for $1.2 billion. I can look at all the player contracts. I can look at the intellectual property of the Marlins logo that I'm going to change because I hate it. I can look at all sorts of other things, including pitching machines, lawnmowers, slogans, and I can put a value to it and I can write it off as a tax benefit, which means that if I make money like working for a hedge fund or selling things on the side like art or anything else, if I make money with my left hand, I don't have to pay taxes on the money I've made because I'm losing money with my right hand, and the right hand is the team I own. Even if the team isn't losing money, I get to pretend it's losing money. It's legal. It's a tax trick. It's called depreciating assets. And what that little bill in the big, beautiful section says is we're going to cut in half an owner's ability to depreciate his assets. That's real dollars, folks. That is something that Rob Manfred, Adam Silver, Roger Goodell, and Gary Bettman don't want to see happen. Why? Because when you buy a sports team, you're willing to pay more because you're buying tax losses. And so when your financial advisor is talking to you about what a team is worth, and we talk about the ego premium, we talk about all the different ways you come to a valuation, and not Forbes or Sportico or any of those. We're talking about the ego premium, not a multiple of revenue. The other thing that is a factor is the ability of an owner to have tax write-offs that they can use because they're looking at their full financial picture, not just this asset of the team. They're looking at everything else they do, everything else they own. If that ability disappears when you are doing your projections to invest in a sports team and you don't get those tax benefits anymore to the level that you expected to, you're not going to bid as much for the team. And if you're not going to bid as much for the team, that means the team valuations will not keep increasing at their current rate, which means commissioners won't get extensions and raises and bonuses because current owners are going to be unhappy. So current owners are fighting to get rid of this situation in the new tax bill, the big, beautiful bill. Potential owners, the rich of the rich, are fighting to get rid of this because they want to buy teams and they want those tax benefits. We are a long way from the final bill being approved by the Senate. Changes happen all the time. There will be lobbying and politicking, conversations with Trump, conversations with people in the Senate to amend that bill to get rid of the provision that calls for the breakage of those tax pennies in half, there will be an adjustment. Why? Because the amount of business that is done on Capitol Hill by these people who own teams and buy teams is so significant that while you can get a PR benefit by saying, look what we're doing, we're taxing the rich, when it comes down to it, it will be adjusted, it will be thrown out with the pork, and owners will be able to again sell their teams for an amount of money that continues to increase and increase. And they will look back at all of us and say, hey, it's just business. We'll be back tomorrow. This is nothing personal.